video diary time, and today I sort of try and answer the question that I get asked quite a lot, which is, why do you write? People always say to you, why do you write? And in my case, they always ask, why do you write science fiction? It's sort of like it's a communicable disease. People say, why don't you write literature, or why don't you write romances? But where my passion is with science fiction. Where my writing actually started was in 1976, which was a big year for me because we emigrated. My family and we emigrated from the UK to France, and I was faced with the prospect of learning English as a foreign language, which was a bit dull. And when you are 11 going on 12, you have very low boredom thresholds. And the English teacher said to me, Sally Ann, you have to sit at the back because I don't want you distracting the other children and I don't want you answering any of the questions. And so I hated sitting at the back because I'm always a bit short and I couldn't see, but I had to sit at the back in English. So I said to my mother, well, what am I going to do? And she says, well, you have to do what the teacher says. You have to sit at the back and sit quietly and not disrupt the class. So I said, well, what am I going to do? And she said, well, you could practice writing in French. So there I was at the back of my French class, and this is some of the stuff that I was writing. Here we have, can you see that, chapter 1? And what's really interesting about this is that even back in chapter 1 of this original manuscript, we have a couple of characters that are still featuring in Guy Irma and the Son of Empire. So here, if you can see, is an illustration. I was big on drawing illustrations at the time. And this one, the cartoon says, hold it there, Vavanci. You've got to hear his story. And can nobody control that Frayne brat? And here we have actually an early drawing of Carl Vavanci and Guy Irma. So we've got Carl Vavanci, he's a prisoner there, and Guy Irma in full Dome Elite uniform. So it always amuses me that in this text, which is years and years old, which I fully illustrated at the time, there is exactly the same characters who appear in Guy Irma and Son of Empire. And if you think that's bad, it does actually get worse. Because I then have a bunch of... no, that's actually not it, is it? No, I don't know what that is. But I'm sure if I look through this folder, I would find some more Guy Irma and Carl Vavanci stuff. But actually, this is the writing which I did at university. Oh, there's one of my acceptance letters for a change. Here we have some stuff which I did at university. This was the first computerized stuff which I did, and if you look closely you will again find, and here we go, Carl Vavanci and Guy Irma, family tree of all the Vavancis. There's quite a lot of Vavancis in this story. So this story, Guy Irma, when I said in my clip 20 years of writing, I was not kidding. I have all the early manuscripts to prove it. So you say to me, oh, that's great, so start. There was one other thing, has to be said, that happened in 1976, and it did happen to quite a few of us, and that was, of course, that I saw Star Wars. Star Wars A New Hope, for those of you who are of the new generation. And I can still remember I was sat in the dark, and we had at least 10 of my friends with me for a birthday treat, and lights went out, and you saw the beginning of the story, the yellow letters on black, crawling up the screen in that special effect that was completely original at the time, that we'd never seen before, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I can still remember at the time the thrill of seeing those letters crawling across the screen, and because of course I saw it then, my first impression was that Luke and Leia were definitely a couple. I mean, came as a big surprise to me in Return of the Jedi when they turned out to be brothers and sisters, because if you see, it's probably quite difficult for anyone to see that now, because we're always being shown the clips of Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher sparking off each other, Han Solo and Princess Leia having rows and clearly being very much in love. But in fact, when you saw the first film, yes, there was it wasn't obvious at all. And for me, as a young girl, I thought Luke and Leia were going to be the perfect couple. Of course, that didn't happen. So there you are. Why did I start writing? It was a combination of my background, a combination of influences, an amazing story that came to me just at the right time, that of Star Wars. But more importantly, it was that English teacher in my French school who told me to sit down and shut up at the back of her class and not do anything to interrupt her teaching. So I can't remember her name, but I have to say to the school, Sam Moore, which I do remember, it all started there. Great, thank you.